Thank you everyone for joining us and all the views. And we've actually able to repost our videos onto Instagram for those that prefer Instagram. It's not going to be live, but it's going to be reposted straight after our live, so all our Instagram followers can enjoy as well. And let's get started. Helena.
All right. Okay, well, so episode 6 is based on reflecting today. So we're going to sort of pause on our stories, and what we'd like to do is just, have this moment, reflect on what we have spoken about, and be able to define what an awakening is. Now, we have shared our stories and we have spoken about, our awakenings, and a lot of you may understand and may not understand, or trying to figure out sort of, okay, what is an awakening? Well, that's what we're going to do today, be able to give you a little bit of an idea of, okay, what things would define an awakening. But before we go into that, I just want to thank Vicky, who is still on holidays. She is currently in Santorini, and that is on my bucket list. I'd love to be in Santorini, sometime soon. So, it's great for Vicky to come, to be able to share her story and maybe share a bit of her trip tonight with us, even though she is in Santorini. Who would want to be anywhere else in the world? But it's I'm sure it's a beautiful, Greek island, beautiful island there. So please share with us your trip, Vicky, and then after your share, we will continue with our episode of our talk. Okay, over to you, Vicky.
Thank you, girls. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you. Even though I'm on a holiday, I still wanted to make it to spend a little time with you and talk about this topic. Look, it has been incredible for me to be able to do this trip, and it's so enriching. I have been in Turkey, Egypt, and now in Santorini, and it's an incredible growth, personal growth. It's something that I recommend to everyone. Is you learn, especially have learned a lot about people, how amazing they are. Doesn't matter which country, they're all really, really warm and amazing. So, well, thank you again. I'm so happy to be with you here tonight and present and talk about awakening. We are in our episode 6. And I let Nin to start the presentation.
Awesome. Thank you, Vicky, and thank you, Helena. We have a jam-packed, lots of information episode tonight in episode 6. So tonight we're going to pause. Helena always talks about pausing, and it is very important for you to regularly pause. So we're going to pause here for a moment on episode 6, and we're going to define what is awakening. So so you would have listened to the last 5 episodes of the 3 Cells Awakening, and a lot of the things that we've been talking about, and our experiences and events and situations, and how we made decisions and handled our life and our awakening moments. So you might be having questions of like, well, what is awakening? What is this awakening thing that we're Nin and Vicky and Helena are talking about? So we're going to pause here and define it for you. So an act of awakening from sleep, slumber, or a long snooze. So basically, when you awaken, you feel like, just like when you've woken up from a nap, like that, you feel like that for a moment. It can last a little bit longer. And the second definition is an act or moment of becoming suddenly aware or more aware of the things around you. You'll be hearing things that you never heard before. You've been seeing things that you didn't quite see before around you. Yeah. And it's suddenly gaining a different perspective or understanding. So something that you didn't understand before, now you have a newfound understanding of it, or something that you've been doing like a routinely thing, and in a certain way, you'll have a different perspective, and you'll be doing it slightly different. Maybe a problem that you had before, all of a sudden you've worked out a solution for it. After having years and years of these problems. And also another definition of awakening is an impactful moment that shakes you to your core. So that's similar to Helena's story about having a gun held to her head in robbery. That's an impactful moment that shakes you to your core. Your life might flash in front of you. And also a shift, realizing that there is something more to life. There's something more out there. You might not know what it is, but it will spark a journey of revealing and of finding out what it is. Some people call it soul searching, and stuff like that. So.
All right. Let's go back. Yeah, that's fine. So what could cause, obviously, an awakening for us to actually have that experience, to have that awareness? Because a lot of the times, I mean, looking at sort of my situation in my first awakening, it was that impactful moment that did shake me a little bit. So, well, not a little bit, but a lot. But obviously, some people may not even experience something that impactful. So we're looking at things like, sometimes when you lose your job, it can make you realize, and question yourself, where should I go next? What should I be doing? Am I heading in the right direction? Sometimes it's moving away from home. A lot of obviously kids and adults who move away from home then will experience different learnings, being able to, having to be independent and doing things on their own now will awaken them. I do hear a lot of people who have been in sort of car accidents or any kind of accidents, and that will shake them and that will allow them to think. Same as in my situation, where you would question, my life could have ended. So therefore, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Should I be heading in this direction, or should I be heading in a new direction? For some people, it's life-threatening illnesses. So we hear of people that go through illnesses like cancer or surgery, heart attacks, strokes, and that tends to also allow them to think about living a better life, or thinking about maybe I should do something differently. Excuse me. And then you've got near-death experiences, which is going to be, again, similar to sort of my case. Then you've got things like, divorce, desperation. For others, it could be mental health. So when they go through depression, anxiety, that's when they will start to, sort of seek and understand. Breakups is another thing, right? So when you have a relationship breakup, that could also allow, the couples to now think about relationships and think about how things should be. Obviously, trauma, wars, shock, any type of shock, I'm sure. And, traveling to new places. For example, Vicky, she's in the process of traveling, to all these new places and becoming more aware of how things are and how people are interacting, how life is so different from where we are here. So therefore it will, I have spoken to Vicky about her trip, and she has shared some information with us about the different people, the different culture, and etc. And being able to to see how love is expressed differently in the different cultures, in the different places. So that will allow people, even not people as in us, to then look at what we're doing and be able to compare what is happening, what should be happening, what is good, what is bad. And obviously meeting new people. We will be, in our journey of life, we will meet people, and people will come and go. And therefore these people obviously have come into our lives for a purpose, and we just need to understand that some of these people will be able to change as we go through, or change us, as we go through our life journey. Okay. So obviously, Vicky will share the next slide with you about the signs and symptoms
Yeah,
of an awakening.
definitely. So some initial signs and symptoms of the awakening is feeling disconnected to everyone and everything. Sometimes I feel that disconnection, like if I'm speaking to someone and if I'm talking a different language. Um, so that is a definite sign of awakening, feeling disconnected. And I don't think I'm the only person that have felt this way. I think a lot of people have experienced this, and we feel like we don't fit in, or we don't think the same way that others think, like at work or at home, or even with our own family members. So don't feel bad about it. I think this is a really good sign. Feeling detached and wanting to isolate yourself. I think this is very important because to pause, you need to isolate yourself from everything and detach from everything that's happening around you. To have that moment for yourself, and I would say, thinking on analyzing your life is actually a good thing to have. Becoming more intuitive and asking lots of questions. Um, Definitely, we become more intuitive when we start believing more in ourselves and connecting more to people and our environment. So in this case, you actually feel a lot more. Sometimes we feel sadness, and sometimes that sadness doesn't belong to you; it belongs to other people. You can feel how other people feel, and that can be overwhelming because it's something that is not yours. So you're just feeling other people's emotions. Sending more inauthentic, sensing more on authenticity and manipulation. Look, this is everywhere. This is at home. This is at work. It happens a lot to me that at work they force people to do things, and I feel I'm the only one that resists doing it because they do it so they look good, but they don't really do it for the people. Um, so yeah, and you know that it's not that they want to do it; they do it because it's another tick in the list. In the list. So this is very normal, sensing authenticity and manipulation. And I think rather than resist, it's just to be aware of it and try not to control that. Just let it be, but be aware of what's actually happening. have a different perspective of things. Um, I think it has a lot to do with the environment that you are in, and sometimes culture. People do things because they tell you to do things in a certain way, but inside you feel that something's not quite right. Um, and that is really good. I think it's sometimes a little bit hard because you can see more things than other people, but it also gives you more awareness of what's happening. Feeling misunderstood but confident. Um, I think feeling misunderstood because you are the only one who can actually see those thoughts and feel those feelings, and sometimes people don't understand it. Sometimes if you go a little bit against the culture or against what family tells you to do, it feels like you out of place. But you feel confident because you trust yourself, you trust your instincts and your feelings. And last one, experiencing more synchronicities and deja vus. You will find out that a lot of people kind of do the same thing without even planning, or they know someone that you know, or you experience something that you thought you lived before or saw before. And it happens a lot with friends, you know, when everybody start getting boyfriends or girlfriends or getting married, everyone is getting married. And when someone is divorced, everybody's divorcing. So um, that is synchronicity. Now
Yeah,
I this to
yeah.
who else?
Thank
To
you,
you
Vicky.
girls. Name.
Yeah, so these are initial signs and symptoms. So when you're experiencing like a either a small awakening moment or your first awakening moment, most of the times you'll be experiencing these initial signs. So as you experience like a second awakening or a third awakening, or if your first awakening is really, really impactful, then you'll start to experience advanced signs of and symptoms. So the first one will be feeling more drawn to spirituality. Yeah, just and this goes along with understanding and having this knowing that there is something more out there, you know, than what you're currently doing or how you've currently been living. And then what happened is you would be drawn to more spirituality, and then you'll find that you'll be on like a spiritual journey, like you might be embarking on a spiritual journey. And the second one is feeling that you no longer belong. So some people, this particular sign and symptom can be very drastic. So some people might just say, "I no longer belong in this family." You know, like my second awakening, where my dad just left the family. You know, to do his own thing. He wanted to, yeah. So he just wanted to be free again and do his own things, and he just felt that he didn't belong in the family anymore, and it was very heartbreaking for myself and my family and my mum and my brother. But this is what he was experiencing, feeling that he no longer belonged where he was when he woke up. And the next one is feeling lonely but hopeful. So if you're constantly feeling lonely, but you have hope because you know that there's you're changing and so forth. A lot of people will feel lonely, and this goes with the initial signs and symptoms of um, feeling distant from the people that are around you. You know, your family will start feeling a little distant, and from your friends, and you'll start having a feeling that you need to, you know, let go and make new friends. But there's an underlying hopefulness to that feeling as well. The next point is feeling homesick, needing to find your new home. And this goes along with the distance, feeling distant, feeling detached. And then all of a sudden you go into the feeling of no longer belonging. And then you start feeling like, oh, I need to find my new home. I need to find my new place. Like you have a knowing that there is another place for you to be. And the next one is knowing that there is something more to life. And a lot of people will either go like start traveling. You know, the people that experience this will tend to be like, what else is there out in the world, right? And this is someone that may not have traveled at all in their life. You know, they've just been doing the routine living, and they haven't really even thought about like traveling at all. Like it wasn't a priority. But then all of a sudden they're having oh, there must be something more to life. I need to go and find what it is. So then they'll start traveling a little bit more, and embarking on like new things that they haven't done. It could be like salsa dancing, experiencing that, or going to the movies more, or watching more documentaries. For me, going on YouTube, you know, for hours on end, just, you know, learning about lots of different things. And the next one is knowing that you have a purpose to being here. Now, this is quite advanced in the awakening. A lot of people who have this knowing most of their life, that's an indication that you're quite awakened from a, you know, like a young age, or born quite more awakened. But yeah, and so therefore there will be this drive of wanting to find what is my purpose, what is my calling, you know, what are my gifts, what am I put on this earth to do. And then the next one is desiring to make a difference in the world. So what happens once you start looking into your purpose and your calling and so forth? You have this innate knowing and understanding that, you know, it's not just about me anymore, it's about everyone else as well. And then so therefore you turn from a self perspective into a more service of others. You know, how can I help other people? How can I make a difference to the world? How can I change someone's life and make it better? You know, and therefore our tagline is get inspired and be more. So we're about inspiring people and getting them to be more, you know, to make a difference, to find their purpose, to find their calling, and to walk in your purpose so that you can impact the world, make a difference to the world. And that's there are a lot more signs. There are a lot more initial signs, a lot more advanced signs. So definitely, if you've been experiencing anything that's not in here, please write it in the comments so that we can share, because there will be someone else experiencing your symptom, and by sharing, we won't feel alone in this journey of awakening. Yeah.
Thank you, Nin.
That was actually really good. Thank you. What I wanted to sort of add to this was the fact that, you know, sometimes we are already on the journey into our purpose. Let me give you an example. You know, like sometimes for me, I left pharmacy, right, to come into education, and it was all about giving back to society and giving back to the children and the families, and improving, sort of excelling these kids and giving back to these kids at the same time, learning more about the families, and then understanding more. So what I'm trying to say is that as we walk in our purpose, what you'll find is that you will actually learn more about what you have to do more of. And that's how I'm sensing it right now, being able to, sort of to help children and help parents. And now it's helping families, being able to help families to reconnect families, because the more I'm in this society, the more I'm dealing with families, I do realize now that families are not so connected, and we need to help families reconnect. And obviously, as I'm doing what I'm doing, as I'm okay in the education business, I'm actually learning more about what my purpose is, what my mission is. And I just feel so grateful that I am able to start, to be able to see all of these things and be able to start and make a change. And this is why we're doing Heart Talk to You, and that's why we're trying to create a community, and having everyone come on board so that they're also on the same boat and understand what we're trying to do, and hopefully inspire them to maybe join the community, be a part of what we're doing, be an inspiration to others, and help create a better place, create a world that is a better place.
Yeah, we remind all those that are watching us at the moment that you are also part of this amazing thing that we're doing. You can ask any questions. You can. We are here to answer you as best as we can. But we also want to make you part of this program that we're doing live on Facebook. Feel free to ask anything or put your comments, and we're more than happy to respond to you. So you guys are part of this as well. Don't feel it's just the three of us. You're also part of this amazing live.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Vicky. Thank you, Helena, and for joining us today, especially Vicky, all the way from Santorini. I'm so happy and so thankful and excited that you're here to do this with us. It is a very important topic, and this is only the definition stage, and so this is only the beginning. It's going to define what Heart Talk is all about, and where we're going, and what it's all about. And so the awakening, what is awakening? Thank you for the heart. I think it was from Melita. Thank you, Melita. Everyone will eventually go through some kind of awakening journey. And but what is an awakening, to summarize? Well, what is an awakening, right? So all these signs and symptoms and events and emotional roller coaster ride, but what is it? So an awakening is actually your soul, the soul part of you, the spiritual part of you, energetic part of you, the invisible part of you, that is, it's coming out from layers and layers of rock, to be metaphorically speaking, like in the picture, layers and layers and layers of rock, and you're just peeling each of the rocks off and revealing your soul. And basically the signs and symptoms is a process of you getting to know your soul, because if you're still sleeping, that means you're just living in the physical. You're not actually operating on a soul level, on a spiritual level, on an energetic level. And basically, awakening is a process of revealing your soul to reconnecting with your soul, and your soul is coming out from under many, many layers of rocks and becoming spiritually alive again. You're actually becoming alive again. You know, you start seeing things that you never saw before, you start hearing things that you never heard before, and in this process you'll be, you know, yes, there will be a process of distancing yourself and detachment from what you already know, but it's going into a different territory, right? Of getting to know yourself on a higher level, on a more spiritual level. And so, therefore, you'll start to feel alive again. And as you hear new things and see new things and have this desire to find out what is out there, like there is more out there, and in that process of wanting to find out what is out there, what's out more out there, you will connect to new people. Just like on my spiritual journey, on my awakening journey, I found Helena. Actually, Helena had always been lurking in my life since I was 18 years old. Every around 10 years, she would pop back into my life to say, "Hi, I'm here." And then I think it was the third time or the fourth time, Helena, that we actually reconnected was when we actually hit it off, and our souls connected on this Heart Talk to You journey. And also Vicky as well. Like, you know, my life led me to Vicky, and we connected from the very beginning. You know, like we started like a little conversation. I asked Vicky to do, you know, to work with me. She said yes. And then, you know, and that started the journey. So you'll meet new people, and you'll meet people that are more on your wavelength now, and that share your new perspective and your new knowing of your soul, and it actually makes your life more richer and more happy. So you'll be like coming alive again. Would you say that is your experience, Vicky?
Definitely. I think we need to hear our internal voice and trust that. Because when I met you, it was like, oh yeah, you know, it was work, and it wasn't really exciting, right, about work. But then we started talking about spirituality and awakening and all sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And that was the moment we really connected. I was like, oh my God, I can talk to you. You know, I can't really talk about these kind of things to everyone, but I can definitely talk to you about it. So, and
Yeah.
I had to mention that we have a question from Melina.
Oh, Melita. Hi, Melita.
She's asking, how do I keep my awakening stage?
Mm.
Evelyn, Melina, do you wanna answer that?
Helena, do you want to go?
How do we keep our awakening stage? I think the feeling would linger. Like you will know that there needs to be change. I mean, personally, I feel that when I actually went through an awakening, the feeling of knowing was always there, and I think if you really want to keep it, right, if you really want to keep it, then you need to act on your intuition. And I think acting on intuition is, if you understand what that means, it's actually, again, it's your internal voice, right? It's what your internal me, right, or internal I is telling you, and it's acting on that. And you know, on faith, with the fact that I trust, you know, you trust your intuition. And if you, you know, because usually when you get that voice, when you get that intuitive, you know, sort of feeling and voice that tells you what to do, if you act on that, then it will lead you to the next step. That's if you are following. If you are awake, like if you do get an awakening moment and then you've got all these thoughts, okay, this is what I should, maybe this is what I should do. But when you get that voice, when you get that feeling, that nudge, some people call it gut feeling. Okay. Yeah. Gut feeling.
Mm.
Um, when I say intuition, sometimes people don't understand what intuition is, but if I say gut feeling, they'll know it's coming. It's coming from the gut. It's this thing that tells you this is what you should do, and it will keep on nagging you until you act on it. Obviously, if you don't act on it, then it will actually slowly go away. So that's what I think, and I've always acted on intuition. And maybe Nin has got something else to add to that. Can't hear you, Nin. I think your mic's off.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I totally agree with you, Helena. So, you speak about intuition. Some people, while you're living in the physical world and you're not awakened yet, you're like in a sleeping mode. So you're just doing what everyone else is doing, and you're just like, if you look at your life, and especially if your life is very busy, you're just waking up, doing everything, getting the kids out to daycare, go to work and 8-hour day, come home, you're exhausted, make dinner, you go to sleep. And then it just a repeating cycle. So you don't even really have time to like listen into your intuition. And some people are totally cut off, and they can't sense their intuition at all. And so what happened is, or sometimes like like if you're sensing your intuition, sometimes you might even like discard it yourself because because you're like, oh, what's this voice in my head? Where is it coming from? Like where it sounds different, because normally your intuition will be telling you to do something that's out of your comfort zone, or try something new, or something, and so to get you out of your like sleeping state. But it might scare you. A lot of people get scared by that intuition, and then they just kind of discard it. You know what I mean? But in the awakening process, the intuition will become stronger. It will become more clear. And then what I encourage is to lean into your intuition a bit more. Carve out some quiet time. Like if your life is very hectic, maybe have an hour where you go for a walk and sit in the park, and then come back home and do that regularly, so that you're creating some space and quietness in your life, and you're not like going from one thing to the next. And then what you'll find is, in those quiet times that you carve out, that your intuition will start talking to you. You get familiar with your intuition, because this is as like I said, your soul is waking up. So it's your soul that's talking to you, and therefore get to know your intuition. Maybe take a small step and follow your intuition, and then as you get to know your soul and your intuition, you'll start to rely on it a bit more. You start being like, oh, I like where it's taking me, or I like actually, I needed that. My intuition sometimes randomly goes, turn left here, and like I'm lost, for example, and I don't know where I'm going. And then I get a little intuition to say, how about you just stop here, or turn left here, or go and ask so-and-so, and stuff. And you know what? I found, like, when I do follow my intuition, it always turns out perfect. It's like my intuition knows better than I, you know what I mean? And so get familiar with your intuition, because you're going to have to rely on it more as you move through, get to know your soul, and go on your spiritual awakening journey.
Yeah, and I think once you start awakening, it's like a training. Like
Mm.
you go to the gym and you start training, right? The first month, probably you see no results at all, and then you start looking into yourself and trusting yourself, and you start seeing more things, hearing more things, to the point that I think when you have your intuition, you can't really ignore it because it's right in your face.
Yeah,
So,
it gets louder, doesn't it?
yeah, so it's like a muscle you just have to train, and then once it's trained, you can't really ignore it because it's gonna be there, and Yeah, like you say, guys.
It's what guide us. It's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
basically what's going to guide us.
Yes, your intuition will guide you. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah, just act on it, listen to it, and trust, because you know better than anybody else how you feel.
Yeah.
About
Yeah.
it.
And I want to add into there, some people go through a spiritual awakening. Um, some people go along with the spiritual awakening. Sometimes people go through a healing journey as well. And so I will like from looking back now, being awakened to my process of awakening. One of like in my first story was when my grandmother passed away, like my heart broke, and then I was actually diagnosed with asthma as well. So that came from that incident as well as a consequence. And so it set off my awakening journey, but then my awakening journey was also a healing journey as well. So it can be parallel with each other. You can have like a spiritual awakening, you can have a healing. A lot of people go on a healing journey as well. So healing will allow you to heal from past traumas, past issues, past, and then slowly move you into your journey, into your purpose.
Well said.
Well said. Thank you. And I think we will sort of finish off here, I guess. I can't see my Facebook, so you girls will have to thank whoever's joining us because I can't see
Yeah.
on Facebook.
So I'd just like to say thank you then on behalf of Helena, because you can't see, to Tao for joining us, and Yan as well, and Melita. Thank you, Melita, for joining us. The three of you, you've been very, excellent supporters of ours. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you. And I want to thank all of you that have joined us tonight. I wish you have a lovely night, a good rest, and it was a pleasure and an honor to be here with all of you tonight.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night.